As some of you know, I went up to Sedona, my very first trip to Sedona, although I've lived here a year. So I thought I would share my experience of my first trip to Sedona. And let me just start by saying that it was absolutely beautiful. So when we first got there, I went to the Mago training centre with the Brain and Body Tai Chi Centre here in Scottsdale. I was so grateful for the opportunity, it was really lovely. We arrived about 9:30. So my experience was, I'll start from the very beginning. We got there, and as soon as I get out of the car, I felt this immense pressure on my head. I'm like, oh my goodness, am I getting a headache? So, and it was there constantly, but it never got any worse. It was just like somebody was like squeezing my head from every direction. And as much as I was feeling that, it wasn't painful. So I, went for an induction, we checked in, we had a little lesson with Master Young, and then we went for a walk. And the whole time I was very aware of this compression, like this major pressure all over my head. But as I said, it never stopped me doing anything, never stopped me participating, it didn't stop me speaking to people. So I thought, okay, I was aware of it, but never gave it much thought. We couldn't check in until about 1 o'clock, so we'd gone for a garden meditation, and people say, oh, wait till you feel the energy, and I was like, I tried to go with no expectations, right? But I'm like, I feel more in my backyard than I'm feeling here. However, the day's going on, and we go back, we get our keys, and we're told we can check into our rooms. So one of the more senior members of our club, she had held on to my bag for me until my room was ready. And I went and picked up my bag, and as I was walking towards the room with her, she said, how are you feeling? And I said, well, to be honest, it's not what I thought I was going to feel. I thought I was going to be like, whoa, feel all this magic, and all these vortex, and the whole of Sedona's like that. And I'm going, okay, I don't know, I just don't know how I feel. I said, but I do have this feeling in my head. And I explained, I just said to you guys what was going on, and she looks and she goes, that's the energy, Sarah. She said, especially with you being so sensitive to vibration, she said, it's like an overwhelming stimuli. She said, it happens to me every time I come here. And she had gone up the day before, so that by the time we all got there, she had gone through this whole stimulation that she gets each time. So I looked at her and I went, really? I said, so why am I feeling it so intensely? She said, because of the vibration. She said, it's like an overwhelming feeling of taking it all in, and it's like almost like it has to come from the crown, and slowly, just as you breathe, the longer you're here, the thinner that gets, the less the pressure gets. And she said, you'll see. So I said, okay, thank you for that. So we had another vibrational class. And when you do brain and body Tai Chi, it's about like shaking, right? Because energy has to move, right? So we do a lot of shaking, a lot of shrugging, a lot of our heads, and dance, and to get the vibration moving. And then when you stop, like now, because I'm moving, right, I can feel the tingling in my hands. So once we started to do some of that work, this, I wasn't aware of it at first, but this started to dissipate. So we did that, and we went up to one of the most magical spots, like one of the sacred areas, and it's a big long story, and I will post a link, but I won't go into that right now so I don't bore you. But so we did the whole vibration, and then we went into a silent meditation in one of these sacred spots. And for the first time, I think I've been here once before, so I'm going to say for the first time in the longest time, I knew what it felt like to be 100% present. because we had moved about and then we went into the silent meditation, it was the coolest thing. I was aware of the sun on my face. I was aware of the wind blowing my hair. I was aware of a little fly on my hand. I could feel its little legs. I was aware of a bee sitting by my ear. I was aware of the hummingbird that was hovering over me. I was aware of another bird going past and I could hear its wings. I was aware of how warm the ground was underneath me. I was aware of the humming of the mountains. I was aware of the hairs inside my nose as I was breathing in and out. I was aware of the saliva. I was aware of each time I moved my hand. I was aware of my fingers. I was aware of my mouth. I was aware of, it gives me goosebumps to think about it. I was completely present. The sacred spot, and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm just getting all shivery. It was so amazing. Completely 100% present. And I was like, wow, is this what it feels like? To feel this energy that everybody keeps talking about. So we after each meditation we do an event that we do, and we crammed a lot into these two days. Sometimes it was a wee bit overly stimulant for me because I like to just be silent and enjoy, like that meditation there, to just feel. But anyway, so we did sharing, and one of the other ladies shared that she felt the exact same thing as me. She was very, very present and like 100% present and didn't want to leave. She's like, I could sit here forever. This is just like the most amazing thing. And we also all shared this, that we never thought about our phones. We never thought about, you know, you don't think about anything except for every part of you and everything that's going on around about you with nature. It was really magical and beautiful. So as the day goes on, you know, we get some free time, and I went for a walk during the free time, but because we were doing all this movement, I just needed to be alone for a little bit. So when I was alone, I was still very present. Every step I took, I was aware of my heel hitting the ground, aware of my toes, and then each step it was like, okay, this is cool. And then I'd be aware of something flying past me, and I was aware of my breath, and I was aware of my heart rate. It was so beautiful. It really was. And then we went into the afternoon and we did more vibrational work. And there was a point when we were doing the vibrational work, and I'm skipping, I'm going to write a blog about this, so I'll definitely post it. I'm doing the really fast version, believe it or not. So there was one of the meditations that we did, and we were doing a lesson after it, and Master Young, who's the director of Brain and Body, he was like leading this retreat. He was talking, and all of a sudden, I couldn't hear a word he was saying, nothing. He was just there. But as he was talking, I could feel what was coming out of his mouth, but I couldn't hear it. And what I was feeling is, and then all of a sudden I'd be very aware of like somebody across the room receiving directly what he was saying, but I couldn't hear what he was saying. I was just very aware. Although when I say I was very aware and very present, I stopped focusing on what Master Young was saying, and I could feel the reactions from the people. I felt like Neo out of the Matrix, right? I felt like I was in and we're all in the Matrix, right? But to be aware of being in the Matrix, that's how I felt for about 10 minutes. And I was like, wow, I don't want this to stop. This is really cool. And what I found is, I moved the position I was sitting in, and I noticed that the lady across the way sat in the same position as me. And then I had a lady crying, and I looked over, and I found myself saying, smile. And I smiled, and she started smiling. It was really cool. And then I would look at somebody else who was obviously really uncomfortable on their back. So I did this, and I sat up on my knees in Thunderbolt, you know, just got really comfortable. And she changed and she sat, and then her shoulders relaxed. It never happened for a long time, but I really felt like I got to experience what everybody talks about when they say the energy in Sedona is amazing. So I just wanted to share that. I have a whole lot more to share, but I don't want people to turn off and go, I don't want to listen to her anymore. But yeah, that was my first experience of going up to Sedona. Now, for my people in Virginia who keep saying to me, Sarah, are you going to do that retreat that you said and we'll all come out to Arizona? This place that I was just at, and I'll send a link to that as well, was really cool, and it's definitely on the bucket list. However, other people were saying that they've been to like places where the vortex is really contained and even more powerful, right? Because it's supposed to be this whole vortex of energy, and people come from all over the world. Well, I got to experience what it felt like for me. Not everybody had the same experience as me, but I work with vibration, and I'm very, very sensitive to other people's feelings when I'm in that place and you invite me into your place to feel what you're feeling, right? So for me, I experienced it based on who I am as a person, and being very sensitive to feelings and vibration and sound. So for me, it was a wonderful experience. That's not what everybody else got though. Other people had different things, something very similar. So yes, I got to be 100% present, and it was the coolest thing. So if you've been up to Sedona and you want to share your experience with me and other people that are watching this, please, please, please go ahead. Okay, backtracking, sorry. This place is definitely on the bucket list for me, holding a retreat in the fall of 2025. It'll definitely be the fall of 2025, whether it's this actual place that I was at or another place, because when I was telling Ed about my experience, he's like, let's go up, let's go second week in October. So we're definitely going back, and I've picked another location that I'd like to go see. So I'll definitely let you know if it was as beautiful as this one. I only had 2 days. We got there on Saturday and left yesterday afternoon. So would it have been more intense the longer I was there? Probably. When I got to experience Qigong while being 100% present, right? I'll write about that as well. It was really cool. But thanks if you stayed all the way through this video. Thanks very much, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. And please share your experience of Sedona with everybody else as well, because it's really cool. Feeling blessed. Thanks.